This meeting of Toastmasters Area 12A is now called to order. Look at the great turnout we have here tonight. Isn't that wonderful? I'd like to first of all welcome all of our guests. And if you are a guest, please stand up. Wonderful. Oh, no. I know that we have at least one more in and out. Do we want introductions, Sheila?
Let's do it at the end.
Okay. All right. And I would like to introduce our guest speaker, Karen McNenny. Karen has had a diverse career path stretching from her days performing as an actress and dancer to hawking souvenirs at the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. She currently works throughout the country as a professional speaker, group facilitator, and personal coach. Karen's areas of expertise include employee engagement, leadership development, and transforming workplace culture. Karen completed her graduate studies at the Sesame Institute in London after studying dance and theater at Montana State University. She trained with the Center for Ethical Leadership, earning her certificate as a gracious space facilitator. Karen has also enjoyed membership in the esteemed National Speakers Association and in Missoula's own Shootin' the Bull Toastmasters Club. Karen currently lives in her hometown of Missoula, where she holds the glamorous position of domestic diva, serving her 2 young children. When she's not out transforming corporate America, she can be found at home, melting cheese on something and wielding a sharp butter knife. Please help me welcome Karen McNenny.
Thank you, Susan. A lovely introduction, and she read it just the way I wrote it. One of the shameless things when you get to be the speaker, they say, oh, send us your introduction. Make sure you fill it with all the really juicy, good stuff. As the seasons are changing, I am actually just already grabbing for that June, July, August. I'm already thinking about 2014 and a hot summer day, like, you know, the hot, like you put on just enough clothes to be decent and go out in public. And it was precisely one of those days, maybe 4 years ago or so. President and vice president of my life, that would be Sophia and Patrick. They were probably 2 and 3 years old at the time, and it was a typical hot summer day where we had just put on enough as we rolled out of bed. And it was one of those rare mornings where I could actually see the floor in my house because we put things away the night before. So I went to the closet and I said, all right, kids, we're going to vacuum quick before it all disappears again. My kids, for whatever reason, they love the vacuum cleaner. They get quite excited when the vacuuming is going to happen. We play Run from the Vacuum Monster, and they also like to go and take off all the, the dusting wands and the little apparatuses, and they begin to vacuum as well. We live in a split-level house, so when you walk in, there's stairs up, there's stairs down, and the kids take to the stairs with their little wands and their little pieces, and they're going at it, and I'm down the hallway towards the bedrooms on the upper level, minding my own business, getting a few things done, and I hear out of the corner of my ear, "Mama, he's in my way!" This would be the sound of Sophia's bellowing voice. And for those of you that are parents, or have had parents, you know that there's a distinction between Mama, there's blood, and Mama, there's a booger. And this is clearly in the secondary category, so I press on with my vacuuming until I hear it again, "Mama, he's in my way!" At this point, it occurs to me that they'll work it out, like dogs. And I carry on. And you know how it always comes in threes? And sure enough, here comes the third. And it's not Sophia's voice. It's Patrick. And it's not a booger. There may be blood. And I launch down the hallway to the top of the stairs, and there are my children on the stairwell. Sophia, with the dusting wand raised above her high, beating on the back of her brother. He's in my way! I begin to scream in horror at this behavior, and I grab my adorable little daughter. She gets breath of fire. Because I don't have any words in that moment. And I launch down to the end of the hallway where the bedrooms are, and the chair. You know the chair? It's the sit and think about what you just did chair. And I launch her there. I have no words, but I do have the wherewithal to take the weapon out of her hands. And I go back to the top of the stairs where Patrick is still splayed in diaper alone over the top of the stairwell. And I scoop him up. Oh, I'm so sorry, Patrick. I'm so sorry. Only to realize he's pooed his pants in the middle of this traumatic event. So back down the hallway I go. Daughter sitting just outside of the child's bedroom. And I don't know why. Maybe it's all that good Catholic upbringing. But I just glare at her and turn to Patrick. I can't believe what your sister did to you. And into the bedroom we go where the changing table is. And I slam the door on the 3-year-old in the hallway. I'm not proud of this parenting moment, but nonetheless, every now and again, they just leak out, don't they? So Patrick and I tend to his diaper. I continue to just throw on the guilt. Oh, you poor thing. I'm so terribly sorry. Are you okay? Your sister, well, we will talk to her. He has no verbal skills at this point. I am doing all of this for her sake, clearly. But nonetheless, we go, he's cleaned, to exit. I forgot a very important part of the story. You know when you buy a house, a used house, which is the case for most of us, you inherit all the kind of quirks from the previous owners, things that they hung in strange places or doors in opposite direction. Well, in this particular house, for whatever reason, the previous owners had taken the handle of the children's bedroom with its little, locking mechanism, and they had reversed it. So the locking mechanism was no longer in the bedroom, it was in the hallway. And at this moment, as I went to leave the bedroom with my infant son, I guess I came to realize Mommy was locked in the bedroom. Sophia? Sophia, honey, there's a little knob in the, can you unlock, honey, I can't get it. Sophia? And it's occurred to me that maybe I hid it in some way in all my drama as I was going into the bedroom, or maybe she was just fussing around, or, Sophia, I need you to unlock the door, honey. There's a little knob. Mommy can't get out of the bedroom. I hear nothing. And I start to get panicky. It's 10 in the morning. Daddy's gone to work. May or may not come home for lunch. I don't have a cell phone. I don't have a bra at this point. I am panicking. How are we going to, and now my daughter is out, and is she safe? Because she may go wandering around. Will she leave the house? I don't know. And so I start looking out the, okay, how traumatic is it if Mommy jumps out the window to get to the front door? It's not that far. And I start to, Sophia, I need you to unlock the door. Can you hear me? And right there, just outside the door, I hear, There is no mystery as to what has happened. Daughter has locked Mommy in the bedroom. And now panic and concern turns into Commando Karen. Sophia, you open this door right now. Sophia, this is not safe. I need you. And the more I push, the more she pushes back. And I realize that I'm getting nowhere fast. I step back. Cleansing breath. Okay. What would Daddy do? Because in many ways, Daddy is the more talented parent. Certainly the more seasoned parent. And it occurs to me, Daddy would make it more fun to be on this side of the door than that side of the door. Patrick, let's have a party. Let's have a birthday party for you. We'll wrap up some toys and we'll make it. And here comes the little voice. It's not his birthday, it's my birthday. Oh, that's great, Sophia. Come on in. We'll have a birthday party for you too. Now, what present shall we open first? And in she comes. And then there were some words. But Mommy was no longer locked in the bedroom. I love telling this story on myself. And the first time I ever utilized this story in my profession as a trainer and coach and working with businesses, I was partnered with another professional speaker, an NSA Hall of Fame speaker, Mary Laverty, multi-talented, multi-published, has appeared on Oprah several times. And we're sharing, trust me, she's the band, the headliner, and I'm the warm-up band. But nonetheless, in the midst of this event, she kept telling all of these stories from her life at a time when I knew I was still a book reporter speaker. Read something, regurgitate. There's a story about starfish. I'll use that one. What about that one with the cathedral builder? Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, we giggle and laugh because that's what we often grab for. And here I saw someone who was very established in our industry, who was telling stories from the river she stands in. And I thought, I don't have any stories worthy to tell. I don't have anything with meaning. I don't have anything that would have a purpose. And in that particular leadership event that Mary and I were co-facilitating, I was getting ready to deliver some material about leaders meeting resistance with their employees and how to move from resistance to engagement. And this story came to mind. Because at the time, 4 years ago, it had just happened. I had just been locked in my very own house by my 3-year-old. And so I set out telling this story, and like you, I could see the light bulb starting to go off and connecting. And one of the paradoxes that have been taught to me by my mentors is the more specific we are in telling our own stories, it actually ironically connects with many more people in their own memories and in their own moments. And after I told that story, Mary came up to me and she said, "Oh, Karen, that is a great signature story." And I thought, thanks, what's a signature story? And the signature stories are the stories that are yours alone, that no one else can tell. And if they did, they would be telling on your behalf. And over the years, Mary and I have stayed in contact. She says, "Oh my gosh, Karen, I still love telling your story. When my girlfriends and I get together and we're commiserating about motherhood, I love telling that story on your behalf. And all these years later, I still remember it." So part of what I bring to you tonight as speakers and storytellers is to begin to think about, where are your signature stories? And what can you harvest from your own life to enrich and strengthen each and every speech that you give? Now I'm just noticing, I didn't want to interrupt my story, but poor Susan is up here getting my absolute worst son. Susan, I'm going to invite you to join the rest of this group for a variety of reasons. Would you mind? That's great. And you might have a more comfortable seat for this part of our gathering. So signature stories, only the stories that you yourself can tell. And part of my work in growing my business as a professional speaker was to start to identify what's my platform, what's my message, what's important. And my mentors in the National Speakers Association, they always come with 3 questions as you're looking for that thing that is yours. What have you earned the right to speak about? Number 2, what would people actually pay you to speak about? You might know a lot about Q-tips, but nobody wants to hear about it. And 3rd, what would you never grow tired of speaking about and researching? One of the tasks that I took to heart in that process for myself was I started to make a list of all the stories I love to tell. You know, we have our cocktail stories, our travel stories, our childhood stories, the stories that are right there. And then I began to see that there was a theme. I tell lots of stories from my travels. I love to get out of the country and to get lost and to have that kind of scary, vulnerable feeling. Like, I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight. And then a connection appears. And that human community that is larger than we sometimes give credit to is there to scoop us up. I tell a lot of stories from my history as an actress and dancer, my travels with Shakespeare in the parks and in Virginia City, and the people that I've choreographed for and taught and helped them to grow beyond themselves through the performing arts as a vehicle of transformation. And I thought, oh, there's another theme of artists coming together and connecting. And eventually I realized that the theme of all of my signature stories were about relationship and connectivity. And it was at that time that I finally identified community is the cure. Community is the cure to everything. For me, no one can talk me out of that. So when I go and teach leadership skills, it's about how are you building community around that. Employee engagement, what's the community that we're working towards? Now, not all of you are destined or interested or even desiring a career as a professional speaker, but those stories, regardless, are the things that connect us as human beings. We're hungry for it. It's what we come from. And I think it's the primal place where we used to gather around the fireplace. So as you craft your stories, think about a couple of key ideas every time that you find a story, a micro story or a longer one. I don't get to tell that story very often because it's a long one, but the first thing that I have to do is try to invite you to care. All right, so that's number 1. Make me care about what you're telling me in the story and how we draw people in. Number 2, make a promise. Oh, I've got a great story. There's going to be a payoff. However you do that, however you express that, make the promise to your audience, to the folks that you're in conversation with, that it's worth taking the journey with you. Make me work for it. As an audience member, don't give everything away. It didn't say at the beginning, oh, I want to tell you this story about the day my daughter locked me in the bedroom. So much for the punchline. And in fact, I've crafted that story so I always forget the important detail about the doorknob. Now, the first time I told that story, I wasn't that crafty. That just is how it happened. But what my audience fed back to me is I said, oh, wait, there's this important detail about the handle. And the same thing as I'm describing that you're getting there before me. You're already connecting the dots. And as audience members, we want to be treated as though we're intelligent. So as a storyteller, I must always assume the intellect and the intelligence of those receiving the story so that you can figure it out as well. And finally, make me wonder that there's a mystery. Make me wonder in the awe and the magic of the story. Create an environment that I go to with you. So we started with the hot. I might start that in a lot of different places, but I wanted to get you there in my home on a summer day with young kids, mom, home, trying to vacuum before the floor gets covered again. And I hope that I was able to bring you there. A wonderful quote I just stumbled upon, and if you're interested in doing more research about the craft of storytelling, there's a lot of resources out there. A recent one that I'm fond of is Andrew Stanton. has a wonderful TED Talk. And some of these ideas I have collected from him, and I want to honor him in that way. He's a movie maker, so he wrote Bug's Life and all the Toy Stories. And he did a wonderful TED Talk, and there's this great quote: "Drama is anticipation mingled with uncertainty." Drama is anticipation mingled with uncertainty. William Archer, he was a British playwright. My hope is that in some fashion, as I've shared one signature story from my salad bar of life, that it has reminded you of some of those signature stories that also have great drama and anticipation as you draw people into a story and make them wonder and be present with you and craft these characters, and know that you can all speak from the river of your own life. You don't have to go and find it out there, because the story I most want to hear from each of you is your story. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Karen. That was wonderful. That sure took me back to when the kids locked me out of the house, too. How about everybody else? Didn't it happen to everybody? Okay, I would like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And but don't put it behind the Toastmaster flag. Thanks, Bill. Thank you. Sheila, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Help me welcome Marilyn Mayesh with our invocation.
You can have a seat. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than success, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is that we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. And that's from Chuck Swindoll.
Thank you. Thank you, Marilyn. That's very inspirational. Okay. Well, let's get started. It looks like we have decided to discuss old business, to have a regular business meeting here. Do we have some old business? No, we're not going to do that? Okay. We have new business, though. We do. We wanted to make sure that everyone remembers that we have a divisional contest this Saturday. It will be held at DirecTV, the same as the area contest was. It'll be from 10 o'clock to around 2, and we will have several areas who will come to Missoula to participate and compete in the humorous contest and in the table topics. Are there any other announcements? Okay, great. I would like to introduce our Toastmaster, Carolyn Glidewell. Carolyn's been with Toastmasters for 20 years and more, a few more along with that. Working on your Advanced Communicator Gold. What an accomplishment. That is wonderful. And you have done a lot of service work, your favorite being area governor. Sounds like 20 plus years ago that Toastmasters used to make it into the Missoulian quite often, and you would see that and thought, well, I'm a little intrigued, and my kids are all grown up. I don't know what to do with myself. I'll try Toastmasters, and you loved it.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, please help me welcome Carolyn Glidewell as our Toastmaster.
Do you know how to keep bobcats out of your backyard? Put up goalposts. Tonight our theme is going to be about the Grizz. Now sometimes we think that's only the football or only the basketball. The Grizz actually have 18 club sports, and we have many Rhodes Scholars as a result. They're Grizz, aren't they? So we're going to talk about this. When I was 18, that was when I fell in love with the Grizz. I don't remember how, but I dated a few times one of the Grizz basketball players. His name was John Quist. He was so handsome and so nice, and I didn't know I loved basketball so much. I could hardly wait for New Year's Eve. I bought a new dress, and I knew it was going to be very exciting. And we went out. I don't remember what we did, but I remember that about 11 o'clock, he took me home because he had basketball practice the next morning. So that was the first time that sports became in between me and my love life. So how many of you are familiar with the song from Damn Yankees where the baseball player is in and he's talking about his love life, and he was out on a date and they're all going, yes, yes, and then what does he say? Then I thought about the game. And that's what happened to me. I thought about the game. At the time that I was dating John Quist, and we would go to Dahlberg Arena, named after Coach Dahlberg, to watch. Do you know that the arena ran east and west? And now it runs north and south. They did a big remodel in 1999, yes. So a little bit of trivia, and you're going to be smarter tonight when you leave because you're going to pick up a little bit of trivia. The job of the Toastmaster is to run the meeting with a little thread, blending it all together. And that's what the Grizz Trivia is going to do with us tonight. But each individual job that we do have a few guests, right? So we'll explain a little bit. Toastmasters is an international educational organization, and we are self-judged by some of the rules to make us a more effective speaker, such as we heard Karen do tonight. I'm going to tell you just a little, I'm going to regress a little bit about Karen. I said to her tonight, weren't you Miss America? Not Miss America, Miss Montana a few years ago? She said, yes, but I never tell anybody that. And she went to the Miss America contest and competed. Isn't that cool? So we have something else in common because I was crowned once miscellaneous. But that was wonderful, and we're going to apply some of those wonderful skills.
It was more than a few years ago, let's just be clear. Pushing 20.
It seems not too long ago to me. I am now going to invite our general evaluator to come. Our general evaluator, this is one of the avenues that we do self-manage. Our general evaluator, at the end of the meeting, will give a little bit of feedback, immediate feedback, vocal feedback, and she'll tell us what we did right and what we can do to make it even stronger. Phyllis Erk is a member of the Missoula Breakfast Forum. I asked her if she's a Grizz fan, and she said, yes, I am, and especially a Monty fan. Not too long ago, they had an event here at Ruby's, and Monty came. You all know who Monty is? Okay, the mascot Monty. And do you know what that guy did? He jumped the stairwell, skipping the stairs. He just jumped from one level to the other. She was horrified that he was going to injure himself. He didn't, and so that's when she fell in love with a certain grizzly too, and his name's Monty. But she does love the football games. Please help me welcome tonight's general evaluator, Phyllis Irk.
Thanks, Carolyn. Tonight, we have two speakers. My job as the general evaluator is to introduce the various roles, speaking roles, for the meeting today. Our two speakers tonight will be Sheila Mealy and Bill Barber. And those speakers will then be evaluated. A formal evaluation will be conducted by, I'll have Bob Zimmerino evaluate Sheila, and Carrie Schaus. Kari. To evaluate Bill. Some of the other roles that we have for running our meetings smoothly and to help us improve our speaking are a grammarian and awe counter. Our grammarian and awe counter for this evening will be Julie Tichborne. So watch your ahs and grammar. Our timer tonight will be Lou Ann. So we have a light that's on the floor there. And will come up on the table and it'll be green when the speakers reach their minimum time allowed, and then it'll move to yellow when they're over their time limit, and red when they've reached their time limit for their speech. And our final role that I'll be introducing will be our vote counter. And tonight our vote counter will be Karen Dean at the back table back there. So, and everyone should have a sheet to be able to vote with on your favorite speaker and your favorite evaluators and favorite table topics. Next, I'd like to call for our joke of the evening. And I'd like to call on Sherry Munther for that.
I was a little early, but that's okay.
You're right. I
Took
did
a big
wrong.
slug of Coke. I was a little late tonight, and I have to apologize. It's the second week of the government shutdown, and I used to work for the Forest Service, and so I take these things very seriously. So I decided, since this was the second week of the government shutdown, that I would take advantage of this opportunity and rip off all the tags on all my pillows and all my mattresses.
Thank you. We will hear from Phyllis a little bit later. I'm going to tell you, I asked Sherry if she is a Grizz fan. She said, oh, absolutely she is a Grizz fan. She has season tickets, but her daughter went to MSU. Isn't that something? So she actually, so she cheers for both. And her daughter even sometimes wears Grizz clothing under her Bobcat clothing. I want to tell you that in 1895, when this school was established, what do you think it was called? It was MSU.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And then, what?
We're just heckling, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, the hecklers are here tonight. Wonderful. And I do have that information. I remember it was about in 1960, and I don't remember why, but the university here could choose, and it chose to become UM rather than MSU, and gave that title. So when you cheer for MSU, just remember that you may be cheering for more than you think you are. I was asked to ask you, does everybody have their ticket? We aren't going to do a door prize right now, but just make sure you have your little ticket, because there will be door prizes. Thank you very much, Sherry, for the joke. Now, another avenue that we use to improve our speaking skills is to advance our vocabulary. And Angela Reynolds has agreed tonight to bring us the word of the Is it, I never know, is it the word of the day or the word of the week or the word of the year or what do you suppose? Well, this is word of the day, and see if you can incorporate it tonight. As Angela comes forward, I am going to tell you that she said, yes, she's a Grizz fan. Of course she is, and especially the football, but she admitted to being a fair weather fan. As long as the weather's nice, she'll attend the football games. Angela Reynolds, what do you have for us?
Today's word of the day is humdinger.
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 That's a great word.
The coach of Missoula Grizz football team is a real humdinger. He has shown his devotion for the love of the sport and has supported his team through both wins and loses.
Excellent. Humdinger. See if you can use it. Thank you, Angela. Our grammarian, you get kudos if you use it. And our grammarian will be keeping track of all of those who use that wonderful 3-syllable word. We don't often get that. We're going to go right now into our speeches. Our first speech tonight is going to be by Bill Barber. Bill Barber is a member of Shootin' the Bull. His wife was a member of a different Toastmasters group. In fact, a few years ago, they were both in Toastmasters, but each one in a different group. We really miss Nan, but she made a good decision. Now she attends Shootin' the Bull with her husband. I asked him if he's a football fan, and Bill said, well, a Grizz fan, and he said, yes, I love the football games. And I said, did you play football when you were in high school? And he said, well, yes, I did. And I said, were you ever recruited? And he just erupted into great laughter and slapped his knee and said, now that's a humdinger of a question. I'd like you to please warmly welcome speaker number 1 tonight, Bill Barber.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Good evening, everybody. I suppose everybody in this room has been to a PowerPoint presentation where the speaker got up, gave a little introduction like this, turned 45 degrees to the screen, and read 30 slides verbatim, looking out at the audience once in a while. Are there any questions to those who remain awake? Is that you? Are you sure? Or how about the dour-looking new manager comes up, tells you how delighted he is to be here to lead this team into the future. Now I want to go over with you my 27-point plan for the future. Number 1, you might want to write this down. Has that been you? Are you sure? Have you gotten up on a stage or in some kind of a presentation and start to go down this road and you want to talk to Susan? No, wait a minute, I better talk to, no, you get all misdirected. You can't follow your own thoughts. You don't know where you're going to go next. Has that been you? Or how about you're in a meeting and you're called upon by the moderator, the director of the meeting, to put in your contribution. Are you poised? Can you come up with a logical, coherent answer that shows you've been paying attention, that you're an intelligent, sentient human being? Or are you, well, or I think that maybe we should kind of, well, you know, have you ever been that? Are you sure? And then, of course, there is the speaker who is so transfixed by the sound of his own voice that he can't seem to be able to find a way to stop it. He just goes on and listens to those mellifluous tones, so you're climbing the walls. Let's be blunt here. There are more people who think they are good speakers than there are people who are good speakers. I don't need Toastmasters. Well, they can teach me. I've been doing this for years. Never heard somebody like that? Oh, with you, was it? That's where Toastmasters comes in. That's when Toastmasters is most valuable. It is a club where you make speeches. That's a honor. But it's much more than that. Toastmasters is a simple, structured, effective program for making you a better presenter, a better speaker, a better leader. There's much more to Toastmasters than meets the eye. When you start attending Toastmaster meetings, you will begin to see and you begin to grow. The program is, basic program, is 10 individual speeches, each one designed to help you master the skill, a particular speaking skill. You put them all together at the end. It usually takes most people about a year to complete this program, and then you can move on. Caroline's been a member for 20 years. I've been a member for 10 years. Many people are a member for a year or two and move on. That's all right. You don't have to make the lifelong commitment. Just make a commitment to yourself to get better at what you want to do. We talked about evaluation. Evaluation is an important part of the program too, because you get instant feedback. What did you do well? What can you improve upon? You hear that right now. It's friendly, it's supportive. You don't feel criticized, you feel helped. You choose the topic that you speak upon. You're not limited to some, because there's 10 programs, you're not limited to speak one topic. I have heard 1,000 speeches. Did I like them all? No. But I've learned more things. I've met more interesting people. I've been to some fascinating places I'll never otherwise see. And I've seen demonstrations on how to do things I didn't even know people did at all. You can join this fascinating group. There are 3 clubs here in Missoula. One meets in the morning, very early in the morning. One meets at noon and one meets in the evening. So you can't say I can't find one that fits my schedule, because you can. And each group that you have ever been in has its own personality. The same is true with our Toastmasters clubs here in town. You will find a group that you fit in with, that you feel comfortable with, that you'll want to grow with. So if you're hesitant about becoming a Toastmaster, don't be. Just go to the club, visit it, return as many times as you want to. See what goes on and participate. And you will have a humdinger of a time, and I guarantee you'll be improved, you'll be a better person for it. I'm sure.
Thank you, Bill. I want to quote him. You said a Toastmasters is a simple, structured, what was the third word? Effective. Isn't that wonderful? Toastmasters is a simple, structured, effective program. Who could ask for anything more for less than $100 a month, or a year in fees? Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful. Our next speaker tonight, Sheila Mealy, is, she's a two-clubber. She originally joined Toastmasters in Wyoming, and when they moved here, she visited clubs. I don't know if she visited all of the clubs, but she wanted an early morning one, and that meant that we were able to have Sheila Mealy join us. I asked her if she is a Grizz fan, and she said absolutely. In fact, already she has a wonderful story. The one and only Grizz football game that she has attended, they've only been here less than a year, I think, was made possible because of her Toastmasters affiliation. You see how it even builds your social life, Toastmasters does. While at Toastmasters contest that was moved to an earlier time to accommodate those that were going to go to the game, her fellow Toastmaster, Phyllis Zirk, offered her a ticket to join her and go to that game. They went, and it was a nice surprise and a fun and exhilarating experience. However, when it comes to favorite sports, she has a love that cannot possibly be removed or moved over, and that is the Maulers. Sheila loves the ice hockey. Please help me warmly welcome tonight Sheila Mealy, the casket or the lectern? The casket or the lectern, Sheila Mealy.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Thank you for that humdinger of a welcome.
Yeah.
According to a recent study, the number one fear in most people's minds is a fear of public speaking. This is followed by a fear of heights, a fear of bears, fear of snakes, and finally, a fear of death. The results of this study came as a bit of a surprise to me. More people are afraid of speaking in public than dying. So, for most people, the thought of going to a funeral is more nerve-wracking if they have to deliver the eulogy than if they're in the casket. Today, I'm going to reveal some fascinating secrets on how you can overcome your fear of public speaking, why it's important to overcome these fears, and a few tools to help you that may actually help you start to enjoy speaking in public. There are two ways to deal with the fear of public speaking. The first is what most people do. Avoid it at all costs. The second is simple. Work on it. I'm about to reveal one of those fascinating secrets I alluded to earlier. Public speaking is a learned skill. Very few of us come out of the womb with the ability to be brilliant public speakers. And like any skill, with practice, it improves, it becomes easier, and some of us actually start to enjoy it. The question that I'm going to pose to you is this. Is it worth your time and effort to step out of your comfort zone, to confront your fear, and embark on a journey to become a better speaker? Maybe you're thinking to yourself, I'm no Karen McNenny. I have no desire to be a professional speaker. I'm never going to be a stand-up comedian. And I don't plan to run for public office. So what's the point? Why would I want to improve my public speaking skills? The answer is this. Because it's not just about being a better speaker. If you improve your speaking skills, it can give you the edge in looking for a job or vying for a promotion. Perhaps you'd like to raise awareness in your community about a problem, or raise funds for a school or church organization, or promote your business. Maybe you just like to be better at small talk. Becoming a better speaker also builds self-confidence and improves communication skills and leadership. Have I convinced you yet that it is worth your time to become a better public speaker? You ready for me to tell you the secret how to do it? All right. The next time you're asked to address a crowd, I want you to stand up boldly, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and picture them all naked. No, wait, that's an urban myth. It doesn't work. Now for the real answer. In my humble opinion, the best thing you can do for personal and professional development is join a Toastmasters group. For those of you who aren't Toastmasters, I can see the question, what exactly is Toastmasters? And that's a very common question. As Carolyn said, I belong to the Breakfast Forum, and I get up early and get ready every week. And my 6-year-old niece lives with me, and one time she was looking at me and said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I go to Toastmasters on Thursday morning." And she looked at me and kind of cocked her head and said, "I don't get why you can't eat your toast at home like the rest of the family." You've probably heard of Toastmasters. Most of you who are here are either a member or know someone who is. But you cannot fathom what it really entails until you've been a part of it. And sometimes for 6 months or a year. There's so much involved. There are no instructors at Toastmasters meetings. As we heard from Bill, it's peer evaluated. People tell each other what their strengths are and what could use possible improvement. Once you go through those 10 basic topics, there are a variety of manuals that you can choose from, depending on what your interests are or what areas you want to work on and develop. When you first join a club, you're assigned a mentor that offers you support and guidance for those first few months. But the biggest secret of all, you don't ever master it. Some of these people hang around for 20 years. There's new challenges and new victories to celebrate. Like I said, our meeting meets at 6:30, and the most common comment I hear is, when the alarm went off this morning, I did not feel like getting up, but I'm so glad I did. There's just something special about being involved with a group of positive people that are focused on their success and growth, as well as your success and development. In Missoula, there are 3 clubs that meet here, and then there's one in the Bitterroot. And like Bill said, there's no excuse. You can get to one of those clubs, and you can come as a guest at no charge. If you decide that you do want to pursue this avenue of growth and development, the dues are low, and the payoff is immense. I can say without hesitation that Toastmasters is the best thing I have ever done for personal and professional development. If you can speak well in public, it can help you get a job or a promotion, raise awareness for your team or organization, and educate and inspire others. The better you become, the more you push yourself to speak in front of others, the better you become and the more confidence you will have. My challenge to you is, if you don't already belong to one of the clubs in the area, attend a meeting in the next 2 weeks. Stop avoiding your fear and take that next step toward your personal development. Seriously, wouldn't you rather be behind the lectern than in the casket?
Thank you, Sheila. She made me care. She made me a promise. She made me work for it. Where was this going to go? And she made me wonder. Thank you for that wonderful speech. Very much appreciate that. We didn't outline for you the goals. Those of you familiar with Toastmasters know that each speech is not random. You have a particular goal in mind. Tonight we didn't define those goals, but because you know Toastmasters, please send your vote back to, is it Karen? Dean? At the back table there, we had 2 wonderful speakers. Which one do you think, they were both excellent, but which one did you feel epitomized the goals that Toastmasters have with a clear opening, identified body, and a clear conclusion? Those who you think met those goals, the one that met those goals the better, please send that back. And also use your little slips to write a nice little note to each speaker and encourage them. It took courage to decide to do this rather than die and lay in a casket, you know? So that was great. I have here, this came in my packet. It says Lady Grizz. Buy one, get one free. Lady Grizz basketball, single game ticket. If you want this coupon, you can have it. The Lady Grizz are awfully fun to watch. Excellent. Topics. Thank you. Marilyn will collect the votes. Thank you. I've been in Toastmasters 2 years, and I clearly recall leaving a meeting and not being very happy with myself. I want to say hey to myself, but that sounds a little desperate, doesn't it? But not very happy with myself because I thought, I stink at topics. I'm going to quit Toastmasters. And a little voice said to me, well, that's exactly why you should stay until you just keep working on those skills. Topics is a wonderful skill of learning to speak on your feet. Tonight, we have a topics master. Mark Snyder, I think, drove the farthest. He came down from Hamilton tonight. He's with a member of the Bitterroot Toastmasters. He was a Toastmaster in Phoenix, Arizona. When he came to the Bitterroot, there was not a club in the Bitterroot at all, let alone right there in Hamilton, and he helped charter one. He is a professional speaker. He actually has his own website with some of his speeches on it. He is available to speak at events. Should you have, is that correct, Mark? Did I just say something correct? Did I exaggerate? Okay, let me tell you what. He didn't give that to me. I Googled him. Facebook. Google, no you didn't. You see what they say about you? Isn't that wonderful? I asked Mark, though, if he is a sports fan. And he said, well, I'm more interested, and he started giving me this list. Every one of them ended in OGY, psychology, all the ologies. So I hope that you will warmly welcome tonight's topics master, Mark Snyder, who I just gave him some information he didn't know that he did. So please help me welcome Mark Snyder.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like table topics very much. I don't know if it was explained to you, but it's where I come up with a subject and I pose a question, and then I pick someone that hasn't prepared to speak, and they have to get up and spontaneously entertain the whole crowd for 2 minutes and not know a thing about the subject. And if that is a good brain exercise, good communication exercise. Oh, well, did you know maroon and silver are the official colors of the Grizz? We're going to do a demonstration now. Due to legal issues, the color must be changed. What color would you change them to, and why? Let's have a volunteer on this one. An experienced table topics master. Someone. Hop up. This is a demonstration. And
Okay, Bob.
Bob, go ahead. And
I think that they should be dressed in a mirror outfit. That way they can take on the colors of everything around them. You're standing there on defensive line, looking down that tackle, and you go, huh, got something in my teeth. Distraction, quarterback gets the ball, throws it down the field. Now, the guy who's trying to catch the pass, of course, practices in this uniform, can't really see himself because he's out running a pattern, but here's that defensive back, and he sees him and some other guy chasing the guy he's supposed to be following. Total confusion on the defensive part. The mirrored outfit works. I think that it totally should be part of the whole deal. And then, with the helmet, you could have it be for these night games that we're now having, fluorescent. It should be fluorescent, and when those big lights come on in the stadium, it should glow. But not just glow, but kind of go like this glow. Intermittent glowing. I think intermittent glowing is good. All the more distractions, the better for the Grizz to march the ball right down the field and steal another one from those Kit Kats.
for our guests, that was a demonstration of spontaneous speaking. You didn't prepare for that, right? Off the top of your head. And that's how we train to become better speakers and better communicators in business situations where we're asked to do things spontaneously. Well, I didn't prepare for that, boss. You're up. That's your job. Do it. You know, think on your feet. Here's another one. Lady Grizz basketball player Sonia Rogers was asked what life lessons she had learned while playing. She replied, with the overload of work, you must just learn how to handle it. Well, how do you handle it? Are you no, you spoke. Phyllis? Oh, you spoke. Jim, have you spoken? It's yours.
I'll go ahead. Lady Grizz, you know, I like watching Lady Grizz. Oh, so awesome.
every time I see Lady Grizz, and not to say that any of you are any different, I think back of a couple of stories. I think tall girls. I think back, way back in the days when I lived in Bozeman, we'd go down to the can't remember the name of that bar, but we go down there and it was always neat because there was a gal that kept coming in there and she wore this black trench coat and she must have been a basketball player because she was 7 foot tall. And the guy just loved it because she would come in there just prance around in her coat hung down, put it on the floor, and then she would peel that coat off. And her legs were 7 foot tall, with the short shorts on. That was her fun. And I remember being back in some of those days, we used to walk up and ask one of those young girls, those tall girls like that, "You got a license?" "Well, no, what for?" Kill geese with the rake. I love that the Lady Grizz sports is a fun game to watch. It's just amazing to see all the sports do such a good job of exploiting and not exploiting, but showing the world that they are real, that they can do it. I'm surprised to see that professional ladies basketball hasn't taken off and grown big time. I look forward to that in the future.
Yes, did you notice that I could have chosen anyone? Not only do you learn to communicate on your feet, but you have to learn to listen well to the speaker because he might choose you or you at some point. So you're listening up here about, so I'm going to pick somebody. You have to listen. I have time for 2 more. Up with Montana is the official fight song. It was written in 1910 by Dick Howell. Do you remember your school fight song? What memories does it bring to mind? I have to approach out here because I can't see very well from back there. Have you spoken?
I'm speaking later.
Oh, well, I can't speak that. Who hasn't spoken?
Oh, look at them all raising their hand.
High school is actually to have some.
Oh, poor baby. Okay.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I can't remember my high school song, but when I hear Up with Montana, I am a 3rd generation Montanan on both sides of my family. Both my parents were born in the valley. My grandparents on both sides were homesteaders in the Bitterroot. I have traveled all over the world. I met my lovely wife over here in front of Jim on one of my trips. She's from Costa Rica. I've been on every continent except Africa. I've even been in Cuba twice. If you ever want me to tell you about Cuba, I would be glad to do it. But I will tell you, when I hear the song Up with Montana, that comes right out of my heart because we are blessed to live in the state of Montana. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Good job.
I might as well just get up.
Yeah, I
You've been picked.
know.
A big surprise.
Big surprise. You don't know.
Okay, here's your question. Tailgate parties are another part of the fun when attending a game. The designated driver just passed out. Can you drive, Rochelle? What's it? Rochelle?
Thank you for that question. Talking about tailgate parties, I had one experience. A game I went to several years ago, I was invited by one of the very prominent people in Missoula to join her and go to this game. And I went, and after the first quarter, she said, "This isn't any fun. Let's go meet some people." And she proceeded to go up to all the private boxes, knock on the door, and say, "Can we come in?" And you know what? Everybody invited us in. And everybody had food. And we didn't have to eat in the cold. And we got to watch the game. It was quite an experience. Much better than a tailgate party.
Okay. Any more questions about table topics? Anyone?
Good job. Thank you, Mark. Please thank him with your applause. Well thought out questions, well thought out answers. We had somebody named Bob who answered about the Grizz colors, Jim about the Lady Grizz, Cedric, C-E-D-R-I-C, about the fight song, Rochelle about the tailgate. Were there any other topics, responses? Each of those the mini speeches were very well done, but perhaps one was the best example of a true mini speech with an opening line of answering the question that was asked and with a conclusion. If you feel that one stood out to you who best epitomized a mini speech, please send your vote back to Karen for the best topics response. Wonderful and well done. It's good to get feedback, and that's what we do for each other. And now I'm going to give opportunity for some verbal feedback. Some of you speakers, I hope you get some written feedback, but some verbal feedback. Phyllis Irk is going to talk to us about how she felt about the meeting and how it came across. When you are an evaluator, either a general or an individual, you don't have to know a lot about what to say, what should I do. What you say is, what you think is, what you analyze is, how did it make me feel? What did I see? What did I hear? Did I hear and see accurately? Tonight, Phyllis is going to come to us and say, this is what I heard, this is what I saw, and this is what I felt after I heard each of you speak publicly. Please help me welcome tonight's General Evaluator, Phyllis Irk.
The next part of our meeting will be the speaker evaluators, as I mentioned earlier, who they were going to be. I'd like to call up our first evaluator, Kari Schaus, to evaluate Bill Barber.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me evaluate Bill's speech today. I had the honor of evaluating Bill before. He is in Shootin' the Bull, and that is the club that I'm in. I have to say that he's always a treasure to hear. He's very wise in the ways of speaking, and I, coming in very scared about public speaking, not very confident, and now I stand here, and it's partly because of our great people that we have in the club, and so I really appreciate being able to evaluate him today. The speech that I evaluated was number 9 in the Competent Communicator, and it is Persuade with Power. I think we all felt his wisdom with Toastmasters, and I certainly, if I was not a member, would have joined right here and now because I feel persuaded. And some of the things that I thought he did very well was the questions they asked were, was the speaker credible source of information about this topic? And I think we're all in this room, years of experience at Toastmasters, and he's had 10 years of experience. I think he's a very credible source for this topic. I loved that he picked the topic, and I don't know if that was planned or not. I'm assuming it is, where Sheila and Bill talked about Toastmasters to an open house Toastmaster meeting. I thought that was very wise. I loved the introduction where you stood here and you looked at the screen, and we all do that, where we give a PowerPoint speech and that's what we look at and we read it, and I think that drew everybody in right away and made me want to listen and wonder about your speech. I thought one thing that it's always hard for me to give valuable feedback because I'm a very nice person and I like to avoid conflict. But I think that one thing you could have done is maybe shared your story. You bring more emotion to it if you shared your story of why you joined. Was it because Nan was part of it and you just wanted to see what it was about? Did you want, something, personal development, or like me, have super fear of public speaking? So I would have liked to know your story, and I may have heard it before, but maybe sharing that with the audience would be great. I thought you had great tone and body language, and you moved away from the podium. And, I thought your tone, and I've evaluated your speeches before, and I've listened to you speak, I thought your tone is louder here. And I don't know if it's the room or you were giving a speech in front of new people, but I thought you had more, more volume to when you normally speak at the club. And then one other thing I should say with when you were talking about the types of the types of speeches when you become a Toastmaster and you complete the workbook, that you maybe share some of the examples. Like you could say, I'm doing the persuade, maybe not persuade with power, but there's a storytelling one, there's a inform the audience, and just share some of those different examples. That would make the speech even better. And again, I just really appreciate being able to evaluate Bill and be here tonight and practice my public speaking skills. But great speech, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. And next, I'd like to ask Bob Zimmerino to come up and evaluate Sheila Mealy.
My doorbell's broken. Makes this low buzzing sound. It's a humdinger.
Yeah.
I have to tell my Grizzly story before the evaluation. When we were beating the Grizzlies in that run of 15-0, somewhere around year 12 or 13, I went to Bozeman for the game, and I left my tickets on the dashboard of my car, and I went in to a convenience store to buy some beverage. When I came back out, someone had broken the window of my car and put 2 more tickets in. I have to tell you that I've heard Sheila speak, this is probably the 3rd time, I would say. The first 2 times were in humorous speech contests, and she is so natural and so gifted and so fearless that I totally appreciate that. As a speaker myself, I find that it is a crucial component to being effective. Your audience listened intently. You had great information to impart. We really do have something here that if more people took advantage of, the world would be a better place as far as communication goes. And if you look at what's going on in our government today, obviously there are some people that could really use some work. I thought that you did 2 things that was almost like the bipolar speech. The one was, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to refer back to these notes and I'm going to give you some bits of information. And then I'm going to come out here and I'm going to be Sheila. And Sheila is more effective than Sheila. This Sheila stepped out and gave herself to the speech. This Sheila was able to impart the information in a way that everybody listened, followed, and really appreciated. This Sheila was more factual, giving factual information and stuff like this. While maybe the 2 are necessary to impart all of the information, you're way more effective when you're out here because you sell yourself so well when you are speaking. You should never give that up or let go. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. The next part of my evaluation is to actually evaluate the meeting itself. The meeting started off a little bit unsmoothly because we needed to do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, and the flag was hidden behind the stage. Other than that, I would say that this was a great choice of venues for the meeting. Thank you, Sheila, for asking us to have it at Ruby's. We had the flag and the Montana flag. Due to the wonderful tutelage of our veteran Toastmaster Carolyn Glidewell, tonight's meeting ran very smoothly. Her transitions between speakers was very comfortable. Her jokes, as always, were hilarious, miscellaneous. It was, yeah, there was one. Her introductions were very well presented. She was able to personalize the theme throughout with her own stories about dating a Grizz guy and admitting how old she is. He's a real humdinger, by the way. The fact that she was able to then summarize Bill's speech, I love that quick summary. She gave his 3 points back after he spoke, so she demonstrated how much she was paying attention to the speakers themselves. Both of the speeches were very well prepared. They were very well prepared and with topics that were very appropriate for what we're doing here tonight as a showcase of what Toastmasters does for our guests and to see our demonstration meeting. So thanks for creating those great sales pitches for what we're here for, to get more members, because the more the merrier. Mm-hmm. I loved Kari's great evaluation because I really liked the fact that she brought up the topic of our different manuals. What do we do after our competent communicator? After we accomplish that major first goal of 10 speeches, then we all move on to other manuals. And it was great that she actually pointed out what a couple of those different manuals are. There are many of them. The other evaluation was done by Bob Zimmerino, and in typical Z-File style, he slipped in a lot of jokes. He even managed to slip in a little politics. He did a really great job of introducing this new concept of bipolar speeches. So that was awesome. I really enjoyed that part of his evaluation. All in all, I would say this meeting has run very smoothly, and I'm proud to be a part of Toastmasters in this group. The next step for me is to call on our timers report that is going to be given by Luann Crowley.
For the speeches, we usually go 5 to 7 minutes. And so Bill gave us a good case for joining Toastmasters in 5 minutes. And Sheila delivered her choice of death or Toastmasters in 6 minutes. Thank you. Our evaluators, Carrie, you did 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and Bob, you were 2 minutes and 48 seconds. The time slot there is 1 minute to 3 minutes, so you both came in both did a good job. Topics is always tough. You're standing on your feet, talking extemporaneously, and you have 45 seconds to a minute and a half or 2 minutes. So let's see. Bob, 1 minute and 27. Jim, 1 minute and 48 seconds. Cedric, 1:08, and Rachel, 1:13. Thank you.
Thanks, Luann. And next for our grammarian all-counter report by Julie Tichborne.
All right, thank you, Phyllis, for introducing me. And I get to make people aware of the connectors and ways they use pauses and words to prevent them from just speaking clearly. We started out with Susan and okay. Marilyn had no connectors and no almas. Carolyn set the tone with many, many so's. I quit counting so, and so, but you had one humdinger. Wow. Sherry had an and so.
And so your point is?
So what? Angela was clean and had humdinger. Bill was perfect and included mellifluous tones and very good. Sheila showed us a great example of using pauses without connectors. Mark had a couple of wells. Bob also, very great use of pauses so that we had time to collect our thoughts. Jim, Thea, and Ann Shee. Cedric was strong and clean. Strong. Rachel was an example of someone who Sheila referred to earlier, who as they became involved in Toastmasters actually seemed to enjoy the spotlight. It was very encouraging for me. Carrie started out with a strong good evening and proceeded to reintroduce us to a fellow that I haven't heard for a while. She had 4 you knows. Luann had a couple of so's to clean us up. All right, that's it. Good job.
And at this time, I'd like to turn the meeting back over to our Toastmaster, Carolyn Glidewell.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Phyllis has a beautiful mother. She changed her residence from this place on earth to heaven about a year ago. Her mother's name is Ruby, and established this beautiful place here. Isn't that fun trivia to know? Isn't feedback excellent? Thank you. I didn't know that I incorporated so many so's tonight. I'll have to watch that. I didn't even hear myself. Thank you. That was wonderful. We had 2 excellent evaluators, as has been said. Kari, she spells her name K-A-R-I, and Bob. If you would send your vote back for the evaluation that you thought best epitomized immediate feedback as well as the written feedback of being encouraging, making a speaker say, I want to do this again because I'm learning from it, with some clear instruction of how we can be a better speaker the next time, that's a good evaluation. The better of the 2 that you thought did that, they were both excellent evaluations, but if you felt that one better epitomized, please send that back and we will have those votes in a moment. I'm going to give our vote counter a chance to count votes while we talk a little bit. Have you been confused about what is the fight song for the Grizzlies? As Mark made reference to, up with Montana boys, down with the folk, good old Grizzlies, we'll shoot our backs. Who knows those words? And then it goes, up with Montana boys, down with the folk, good old Grizzlies triumph today, and the squeal of the pig will float on the air. I read that the squeal of the pig, we think it's the football, but supposedly there's a little bit of trivia that says it may, because this was written for one of the Brawl of the West when the Grizz and the Bobcats were going to play. It was written for one of those. And so it is hinted that they were making reference to the poor Bobcats being pigs. That's what Google says. And so the squeal of the pig will float on the air from the tummy of the grizzly bear. Well, that's kind of a funny song, but we love that. But unofficially, I read, Google, they never lie, said that the other song, which is the Montana State song, has pretty much been adopted here as the sports song there. Now, the thing that I love about this one, and that's Montana, written by Charles Cohan in 1945. What I love about this is, and we're going to prove it now, that people don't really, that you all, the crowds, you only know a part of it. Now watch, you're going to prove it with me. You're going to sing with me. Skies are always blue. M-O-N-T-A-N-A. See, that's the only part you guys know. Okay, we'll do it. Montana, Montana, glory of the West. Of all the states from coast to coast, you're easily the best. Rah, rah. Montana, Montana, where skies are always blue. M-O-N-T-A-N-A. Montana, I love you. Yeah, there you go. See? Good job.
No kidding.
We finalized tonight by giving away the winners. Yes, we do have door prizes. Remember the little red ticky that I talked to you about? However, when we announce the winner of each of these 3 categories, please come up and get your little trophy here. Pure gold, 24 karat gold. Be very careful when you're taking it home. Would you please stand, vote counter? And I'd like to know that we'll work backwards. The evaluator, the person who the crowd felt was just the little most helpful. The evaluator.
The evaluator of the evening is Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah. Oh, no, I know. Topics.
The topic winner of the evening is Rochelle.
Thank you, Rachel. Yes.
Speech.
Yeah, speech. Rachel,
Told I like the limelight, you might get one.
yeah. Rachel is a member of the Missoula Breakfast Forum, and it is true, we've watched her develop from a rather quiet person to one who takes the stage when we ask her to do topics and has competed much in that way. So thank you very much. And the speaker who best epitomized a speech is designed by Toastmasters.
This was a humdinger. It was Sheila.
Sheila. Yes. I'm going to wear this proudly. It's been my privilege to be your Toastmaster tonight, and I hope that you learned a little bit about Grizz trivia. I now turn control of the meeting back to the standing president for tonight's meeting, who will handle the rest of the reading and then our conclusion. Please warmly welcome back to the lectern, Susan Hanson.
Thank you, Carolyn. That was great. Could we have a great big hand for Carolyn as a Toastmaster? Fabulous. We can only aspire to be as gracious and energetic as you are as the Toastmaster. Thank you. All right. How about that drawing? Can we have some? How many door prizes do we have?
How many do we have? Two. Okay, since everybody has a ticket, I'm going to ask this cameraman if he would be so kind as to draw out a couple of tickets. This one? We'll do the first one. That's not mine, draw again. Last 4 numbers are 3716. One more, please.
Do you want to check? Trophy and a door prize.
3712.
That's me.
All right.
Congratulations, winners. We're all winners in Toastmasters. Did anyone think of any other announcements that you'd like everybody to know? Sheila?
I'm thinking that.
You're still thinking? Well, don't forget about the contest on Saturday at DirecTV, and if you need directions,
It's entertaining.
it's in the newspaper today, on the back of page, the B section, I believe. Okay, directions are there. Yes, in the community announcements, yes, so the directions to DirecTV are there. Yes, Marilyn?
You might remind people, if you want lunch, you need to get your entry form to someone in Helena by the 10th. If you want to have lunch at the division contest this Saturday. And if you don't have an entry form to send in, check your email or contact your president because they were sent out.
And they have to be sent back to Helena? Not, and we can't send them to
You're
you?
welcome to come, but if you do want lunch, they need to have a count.
Okay,
I did think of something.
okay, great.
Sorry. I just wanted to thank you all for coming and to thank MCAT. They came out and filmed for us.
Yes.
And so thank you, Scott, for coming out.
Hopefully,
I'm gonna get together with the station and edit this together, and it'll be broadcast on the community station. Sherry's doing something at the beginning of November with her Kiwanis Club where she's invited a few speakers in. And I think that's wonderful. If you belong to other groups, see if you can get us to come in. It's really my opinion that everybody should be in Toastmasters. But when we have an event like this, it's mostly just Toastmasters. Some of you were able to drag one or two guests in. But I appreciate everybody who came in, who was able to bring a guest. But if you can think of other places where maybe we could go and share the beauty that is Toastmasters. Maybe I'm just under the ether.
Thank you, Sheila. And yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. And I want to thank Carolyn and Phyllis and everyone else. And Marilyn, my goodness, she did a lot to help put this together. So thank you for everybody. And Bob helped me get the pizza. And if I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. I'm done doing it now.
And, okay, Bob.
I just want to wish good luck to Sheila and Kari, who are both going this weekend to the big district contest. And so I just used a connector. Nail me. What I would say is that you both have all of the talent in the world to be able to pull off a victory, and I just hope that you use every tool in your kit and pull out all the stops. You both have every opportunity to win.
Yes, Nan?
What other communities are coming to this contest? Editing contest.
It's isn't it the northwestern corner of Montana, I believe? That just cut it in half and quarters?
Butte, Helena, Dillon. Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yes, Butte,
Kalispell,
Butte, Helena, Dillon, Kalispell.
In Calgary.
Columbia Falls, Columbia Falls.
Whitefish.
Whitefish, yes. Just one north.
Okay, and a big hand for our guests for coming. Thank you for coming. We love to have you. And Sheila. Yay, the brainchild of this whole event. Thank you, Sheila. This meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, Susan.
Closing comment where you start, so let's go.